One Tuesday, at exactly 12 hours 17 minutes and 43 seconds Universal Time, the Earth stopped spinning. For 1 second, there were no fanfares, no flash of light, no countdown, satellites sent no warnings, and supercomputers didn't even have time to register the anomaly before everything happened. For most people it was just another moment of the day, a sip of coffee, a step on a pedestrian crossing, a breath between two words. And then the world snapped. First came the jolt, not like an earthquake, more as if reality had snagged on an invisible hook. Aircraft flying east suddenly accelerated to absurd speeds. Those flying west vanished from radar, tearing apart in midair like paper toys. Trains derailed simultaneously on 3 continents. And in cities people collapsed onto sidewalks, as if everyone at once had tripped over the same thought. In Warsaw, Marek, a 37-year-old crane operator, saw the shadow of his own body run ahead of him. For a fraction of a second, he was faster than the world. And then he slammed into a barrier that hadn't been there before. In the Pacific, the ocean did something it had never done before. It stopped. A wave thousands of kilometers long compressed into a single, monstrous stillness, and when the earth began to move again, the water remembered its momentum. The tsunami was not a wave. It was a wall. It swept across islands like a windshield wiper, wiping names off maps. In a laboratory beneath Geneva, Drive, Elise Fournier watched the seismograph needle drive itself into the paper. "That's impossible," she whispered. Her team had been studying tiny fluctuations in the magnetic field. They were meant to catch something small, the statistical noise of the cosmos. Instead, they received a second that shattered every equation. "The Earth," someone began. "The Earth didn't stop," Elise cut in. "The Earth stopped spinning. There's a difference." The silence that followed was thicker than concrete. In that single second, more happened than humanity could comprehend. The atmosphere, not bound to the planet as tightly as mountains, kept moving. Winds reached speeds at which the word hurricane sounded like a joke. Cities along the equator were skinned to the bone. Glass, metal, and people lifted like dust. In the Andes, an elderly llama herder saw the sky change color. For a moment it turned greenish, as if someone had cranked up the contrast of existence. Then it returned to normal, leaving behind silence and half a valley gone. And yet, something was different. Not everywhere. In certain places, scattered seemingly at random across the globe, people felt nothing. No jolt, no wind, just a brief sensation that time had hesitated, like an actor who forgot a line. In a small town in Ireland, a woman named Siobhan poured tea and, for 1 second, was absolutely certain that the cup was looking at her. Then the thought vanished, and the tea cooled faster than usual. In Tokyo, a child drew a circle on a piece of paper and said, "The Earth sneezed." When it was over, when the planet was spinning again at more than 1,600 kilometers per hour, the world looked as if it had survived a war no one had declared. Millions had died. The internet filled with a single question, automatically translated into every language. What happened? Religions had their answers. Governments had theirs. Conspiracy theories multiplied faster than the casualty counts issued by the UN. But science fell silent. Because science did not yet have words for what Elise had discovered. 3 days after the stop, as the event came to be called, Elise sat alone in the laboratory, analyzing data from the places that had felt nothing. The pattern was unsettling. "These aren't random points," she murmured to herself. They were all located at exactly the same distances from one another, as if someone had marked anchors on the globe. Elise zoomed in. At the center of one of the protected areas there was something else. A signal. very weak, but regular, a pulse, like a heartbeat. The first contact came at night, not by radio, not by satellite. Through a dream. Elise dreamed she was standing on an empty earth. No cities, no oceans, just rock and stars. The planet was dead, but stable, motionless like a museum exhibit. 1 second, a voice said. That's all we needed. Who are you? She asked, though in the dream she knew she shouldn't. Guardians of the moment, the voice replied. Or its prisoners. We haven't decided yet. Elise woke up screaming, and her monitor was blinking with the same pulse she had seen in the dream. The truth was worse than an apocalypse. The earth hadn't stopped on its own. It had been stopped by something that existed outside of time, yet was bound to it as tightly as a shadow to a body. These beings were neither gods nor aliens. They were a correction, a mechanism of the universe that fixed errors too great to be allowed to continue.